just because it might be safe for me. Like my safe list would be like this. It's very small, very short list. Testosterone, primobolan, anavar, telmisartan. Welcome to Vigorous PEDs. I'm Coach Steve. Let's discuss a list of safe performance-enhancing drugs that you can choose from as an enhanced individual, completely worry-free for prolonged periods of time. Now, a little bit of a disclaimer, a little bit of a fair warning before we proceed into the meat and potatoes of this video. This is just a list based on my experience, being a bodybuilder for 20 years, of which I was enhanced for 10 years. Well, I'm still enhanced, just not the full spectrum of bodybuilding pharmacology. And I've been coaching people for 7 to 8 years now, from all over the world, from different hereditary backgrounds, both men and women. So again, it's just a list based on my experience. And if you show this list to other experts in the fitness industry with fundamental understanding of bodybuilding pharmacology, you might get a different opinion from them as well. And I would highly advise you, as the viewer, to always do additional research, because there's always some evidence out there that some of these performance-enhancing drugs on this list might have deleterious health effect with continuous and, higher dosages. So again, please do your additional research. And with that out of the way, let's discuss the list of what I perceive to be safe performance-enhancing drugs. And I'll put it on the screen right here so you guys can follow along. Yeah, that's right, guys. There are no safe performance-enhancing drugs. Now, there's something to say for testosterone replacement therapy at true replacement, where you keep your testosterone in the reference range as you're getting older, because lower serum testosterone concentrations have been shown to lead to all kinds of negative health effects at later stages of life. So there might be something to say for true hormone replacement when you need it medically. But in my opinion, there's no safe performance-enhancing drugs out there. You're always running a risk by taking them. And whether that's at low dosages, and of course at higher dosages, you're compounding the risk. So let's make this video about risk assessment and risk management. Now, unfortunately, there's a very large list of performance-enhancing drugs we can choose from. In bodybuilding, there's maybe 100, 125 PEDs we choose and incorporate regularly. And whether that's the ancillary medications, like the blood pressure medications, the aromatase inhibitors, the 5-alpha reductase inhibitors. There's so many performance-enhancing drugs we can choose from. And everything compounds and overlaps and contributes to health or a decline of health. And what I think a lot of people oversee is that nutrition, where you live, whether that's elevation at, 6 kilometers, for example. Well, I don't think people live at 6 kilometers, but I do know that people live at 3 kilometers. When you live at 3 kilometers and sea level, hematocrit ranges are going to be different. And some people get much higher hematocrit levels when they live at elevation, when they incorporate primobolan, than people who live at sea level. So again, all these things compound and overlap and change individual response. So you have to look at the total picture, and not just the picture of pharmacology. You have to look at the complete total picture to get an accurate assessment for risk. Because it's not always the pharmacology that induces risk. It may be dietary changes, right? You maybe switch from a pescatarian diet to a carnivore diet. You don't change anything to your performance-enhancing drug protocol. And while in most cases it optimizes digestion and lowers systemic inflammation, the carnivore diet might also contribute to skewed lipid concentrations, to the point your cardiologist is going to raise an eyebrow, or two, or maybe does it like this, and then sends you in for a battery of tests, like a calcium score or an fMRI, and starts prescribing a ton of statins, maybe 3 of them. So again, that's going to set you back financially, and it might be better to, phase off the carnivore diet and go back to a more wholesome approach like a pescatarian diet if you see your lipid concentrations skew over that period that you're following a carnivore diet. Again, there's many different changes you can incorporate, and even though your performance-enhancing drug protocols stayed exactly the same, certain diet practices and the diet model might show different results in your blood work. And then you don't have to blame the PEDs that you're on. It's simply a dietary change. So again, please look at the total picture. Don't only focus on performance-enhancing drugs and cycle design and cycle hygiene. Look into everything. Your diet, your supplementation, your training, where you live, environmental pollutants, and your hereditary background, because sometimes you just get unlucky. Like some people are unlucky with hair loss. It's in their genetic makeup, and it doesn't matter what they do, they will go bald. And of course, certain performance-enhancing drugs are going to speed that up. So just because it's safe for me to take testosterone and primobolan in combination without the requirement for an aromatase inhibitor or a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor, shown to be completely safe for my hairline as of today, considering I have a few of those cycles under my belt, because it's in my genetic makeup. There's no male parent baldness in my family, so I'm a little bit lucky in that sense. So just because testosterone and primobolan in that specific combination works for me, it might not work for you when it comes to preserving your hairline. So again, look into your family, look into your parents, look into your grandparents. What kind of side effects are they experiencing at later stages of life? Maybe some of you guys out there are coming from a bodybuilder family or a family where they took performance-enhancing drugs in the past. And then you simply ask your parents, how did it affect you? Did you get prostate enlargement, hair loss, blood pressure issues, left ventricle heart enlargement, erectile dysfunction, gynecomastia, acne, etc., etc., etc. I would be highly jealous of you because my family has never experienced with, or doesn't have any experience with performance-enhancing drugs. So I'm the first in this line. And, considering that I have extensive experience with PEDs and my wife has limited experience with PEDs, our kids, were they to decide to go that route, they would be under pretty good guidance, considering we have extensive experience with our own genetics and genetics limitations. So just because it might be safe for me, like my safe list would be like this. It's very small, very short list. Testosterone, primobolan, anavar, telmisartan, exemestane, growth hormone, insulin, IGF-1. Yeah, that would be my list. 8 compounds that I would consider to take in the future. Maybe a couple others, extensive, intermittently here and there, for certain periods of time. But I would certainly not run those compounds for prolonged periods of time. I can add Nabivolol to that stack. So maybe 10 compounds that I consider to be safe for me as an individual. And again, they might not be completely safe for you as an individual because we're all different. We're all different. And you have to keep in mind that, all the people out there, the educators, the people that promote cycle hygiene and safe practices, they all have their individual genetic response. And that might guide them in a certain direction. And then they get clients or talk with people that gravitate towards that particular direction. So my direction has been different than other educators like Victor Black or Tiana Clark or Derek from Replace More Dates or Leo from Leo and Longevity. There's so many educators out there and that all have their unique approach that might be beneficial to you as a viewer or might be completely opposing to you as a viewer. Like take me and Tiana Clark, for example. The cycle design is almost opposing. But when we look at the nutrition, and Tiana Clark is highly intelligent when it comes to nutrition, it's probably identical or overlapping and very similar when it comes to the design of nutritional programs. But when it comes to overall cycle design, there might be a lot of differences. So you as a viewer have to keep that in mind, that I'm talking from my own experience, and everybody else that I consider to be a high-quality educator is talking from their own experience. And you as a viewer have to do additional research to figure out what is applicable to you as an individual. And then maybe even if you have a twin brother, whatever works for you, it might not even work for your twin brother. You know, even if there's a small change to his diet or where he lives, or maybe he drinks a ton of diet soda, for example, maybe that particular diet model with diet soda and without it can lead to different kinds of responses regarding the gut microbiome, digestion, flatulence, etc. All right, so please, again, you know, I know it sounds repetitive, but it's the total picture that contributes to your health, and performance-enhancing drugs are just a part of it. And yeah, you know, some of them you shouldn't run for prolonged periods of time, like halotestin or Superdrol, or most of the orals that are not used in clinical settings. So when you focus your performance, or when you limit your performance-enhancing drug exposure to the ones that were at least at one point in time FDA approved and have a decent amount of clinical evidence and research that they are efficacious, or at least that the side effects are known, I think you're going into a more safe direction than experimenting with compounds that were never FDA approved. And especially when you start stacking them, like the SARMs and all the peptides that are, you know, never got FDA approved or have been abandoned during clinical trials. It's probably safer to stick with FDA approved or used to be FDA approved compounds with a lot of clinical evidence, whether that's efficacious or deleterious to health. I feel that if you're limiting your exposure to those at therapeutic dosages, you should be pretty safe. Now, it's not safe to say that you're going to be safe because, again, I don't know what you're eating. I don't know what supplementation protocol you're on. I don't know if you're doing blood work frequently or doing ultrasounds and everything else that we have at our disposal to keep health in check while we're using performance-enhancing drugs. And I really hope that helps, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you were looking for the most comprehensive guides to bodybuilding pharmacology, you can find those ebooks on my website, VigorousSteve.com/shop. If you're looking for personalized advice, you can contact me through the contact form, and you can find the rates to my services in the services section. Follow me on Instagram at VigorousSteve. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and Vigorous crew, you guys are awesome. Much appreciated.